Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive. This video is part of my series on the individual tribes of Werewolf the Apocalypse. I will be going into each tribe covering the same basic details, their history and mythology, their biases, strengths, weaknesses, and a bit of information about their camps, their sub-organizations within the tribes. Now, this is going to be a bit of a boilerplate for all of these, so I don't have to redo a video every single one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we talk about this tribe. To those looking at the Black Furies from the outside, they will see a tribe that has no men. And the automatic assumption is generally going to be that no men are born to the Furies. No male children are born to the Furies. And that's not entirely true. First off, they do accept their male Metis. This is actually because of a decree sent from their totem back in the ancient days. But the other thing is that, male kin born to them go live among the kin. But the male Garou children born, or at least those that they know are going to be Garou, they get sent to other tribes. Usually the children of Gaia, sometimes other tribes. But this is a damn sight better than it used to be for the Fury males. It used to be, way back when, that if a Black Fury gave birth to a male child, they'd kill him. Just outright murder him. Now, why the Furies don't accept male children? That's where things get complicated. And generally speaking, it's because the Black Furies do not believe male children are creative entities. This is because the Furies are extremely connected to the wild. The force of raw creation from the Triad. The thing that gives birth to new entities. And because men cannot become pregnant, the Furies see them as not being creative beings. And this is where the Furies work from, in their mindset. Of course, there's other reasons involved, too. When we talk about all the other tribes, we talk about the Impergium. And for them, for all the other tribes, the Impergium started because humans were defying nature, stepping outside of the balance of how things should be, and needed to be controlled. For the Black Furies, man is why the Impergium started. You see, the Black Furies hold that at some point man figured out that in order for a woman to become pregnant, sex had to happen. And that if the woman had to have sex with the man to become pregnant, then that meant that the child was the man's property. And thus, First off, such things as isolating, secluding the women from other men was necessary so that the man would always know who the father, who the owner of that child was. And this sort of kidnapping and control was something the Furies, as guardians of the wild, could not tolerate. And so they started the Impurgium to punish men for their treatment of women. And this is weird. This core philosophy from the Furies passes through. Now, the Black Furies value a whole lot of other things than just beating up on men. Other tribes might think that that's the big thing about them, but that's not. And when you talk about the Furies, you have to realize that this is what they are. They are the defenders of the wild. They believe that that is their purpose among all the Garou. And from this, they also develop their philosophies. Since they are connected to the wild, everything bears out about creation. Black Furies, even the Aruns, the warriors among them, tend to practice some sort of creative art. Just because they have to be creative. They have to make things, not just destroy. And they hold in the idea of the maiden, mother, and crone aspects of the world. And every Fury is one of these aspects. Except for the male Metis. But that's something we'll talk about in a bit. It's a maiden Fury, is a Fury who has not yet given birth to a child. She is the raw potential, so to speak. Wild, untamed, free to do whatever she needs. The mother, these are the ones who all had a child, who've actually given birth. And this child, this state, means that they are, first off, those to give immediate guidance to the maidens. But they also have ritual connections. And they are the teachers, the nurturers, for the majority of the tribe. Finally, once they have passed the ability to bear children, either through going through menopause or through battle injuries that prevent them from ever bearing children again, they become crones. And this again is a mystical position, a spiritual niche that they fill for terms of rituals among the tribe. But it also comes with it the role of advisor and person to be talked to by anyone. Guidance, wisdom are assumed with this position, with this stage of their life. And from there, you move into the other aspects of the Black Furies. the litany. Every Garou follows the same litany. The Black Furies have 4 additional tenets. Suffer no abuse to woman. This is pretty much the modus operandi of the whole tribe. The big thing for them. They will not tolerate anyone using back-talking in any way, treating women in any way other than the utmost respect that they deserve. Remember your parents. Without your parents, you would not be here, is how the Furies see it. You need to honor both your parents. At the same time, there's the Gaia is your mother. In addition to your biological mother, you have your spiritual parents, which you need to always honor. Train the weak, protect the helpless. Again, this is their philosophies, A Fury could end up running a self-defense seminar, because that's about training the weak. At the same time, Furies will take action if people are harming children, or harming those women that for some reason can't be trained to defend themselves. And the final of their additional tenets is keep the wild places pure. And this is a complicated tenet. On one hand, it's about preserving places in nature, preserving cairns and bonds, and those untapped, unexplored areas of the world. On the other hand, it is seen as not letting anything corrupt their reproductive natures, their abilities to generate and create children. And the ethics and morality involved in there. And it's the Black Furies are very much a tough tribe to talk about because of elements like this. So let's move on to the safer elements of talking about the Black Furies. Namely, their organization and how they treat their Metis. How the Black Furies treat their Metis is complicated. Metis are still born out of a wrong. And the parents must be punished for this. The Metis aren't directly punished, but there are issues with them. You see, the Metis are still wrong. They're still children that are marked by their parents' crime. So on one hand, again, the Metis grow up among Garou society, grow up among the Sept. So they know about Garou society more than any human or lupus will learn for years. So there's a degree of wisdom that comes with them. But they're still treated, not so much treated poorly, as no one really cares about them. Male Metis have it worse than female Metis. You see, the female Metis at least go from crone from the moment of their first change. They actually have a role within the tribe, a place in the ritual life of the tribe. The male Metis don't even get that. Male Metis are allowed only because Pegasus gave the Furies a commandment to stop killing their male Metis. And because of this, the male Metis, yes, they are part of the tribe, but they are not part of the spiritual life of the tribe. They have no spiritual niche that they fill. They're considered less than a person. And that weight will always be on them. That stigma, that psychological stigma hangs on them. So, I guess in a way, you can say that the Black Furies treat their Metis worse than any other tribe. They don't abuse them, but what they get is worse because they have the shame of their parents' sin. And then they have this, they don't serve a purpose other than to die in battle. And that's kind of sad for them. Of course, the Black Furies are an unusual tribe in that they actually have leadership. Tribe-wide leadership. This leadership is in 2 councils. The Outer Calyx, which is publicly known elders of the tribe. And then the Inner Calyx, where no one knows who are actually members of that. But these 2 councils decide where they're going to send packs of Furies and how much governance areas need, or where they're needed to send support. And that's the big thing there, that they actually have leadership. And I don't mean like the Fianna have their High King who can basically tell any Fianna he can see what to do. I mean actual, we need 3 packs over here, we need a pack here type leadership. Of course, every tribe have their camps. The Black Furies camps are actually serving functions within the tribe as a whole. Each of the various camps does something significant, have their own duties. Now, by far the largest of the camps is the Amazons of Diana. This camp is generally the young Furies, or the ones who come into the Furies from other tribes. and haven't quite adapted yet. These are the stereotypical Furies who go out, kick butt, take names, and, are like that. These are the ones who will use bows and other traditionally Greek weapons more so than any of the others. But the Amazons of Diana are generally considered what every Fury will start as and grow out of. Another of the main camps are the Bacchantes. These are the Maenads, the ones who will seek out men who do wrong things and punish them brutally, usually by tearing them apart. That's just how they do things. They're not subtle. They don't care to be subtle. And these are what most people think of when they think of the Black Furies. Because this is the camp of the just straight up man-haters. They eventually kind of grow out of it, but they're never really out of it. They will mellow in time. Of course, you have the Moon Daughters camp. The Moon Daughters are the Furies who keep their fingers on the pulse of the New Age movements. They're the ones who infiltrate the various pagan and neo-pagan groups, keeping an eye on them for the rise of Worm Taint. But they also look at them for bringing in new principles, new ideas into the Furies, but also guiding these groups, teaching them about traditions older than their own, steering them towards more Gaian-friendly ideals, more natural focus. Of course, they have the Freebooters camp. This is the camp of the Wandering Furies. Freebooters Furies don't stay in any one place. They go out looking for lost fetishes, new places of the wild, untapped cairns. They find all these places, guide other Furies to them, help build them up, and then move on. Now, there is a camp called the Sisterhood. This is a camp that focuses on maintaining the kinfolk network. They are sort of an information gathering service among the Furies. They know kinfolk in every area. They'll find the right kinfolk to do something. They'll get stuff transported for the Freebooters or for any of the other groups via the kinfolk network. And these are also the camp that's most likely to be in charge of women's centers, or homeless shelters and battered women shelters, things like that, because they see it as their duty to maintain these things. Another camp is the Order of Our Merciful Mother. This is the Christian camp among the Black Furies. Or, more precisely, this is the camp that has infiltrated the Catholic Church, learn about it, and are part of the idea of pushing things like, the agenda of, Mary, elevating the women in the Bible to be noticeable and important for the various groups of Christianity. Kind of a weird group. They're a very small group, probably the smallest of all the camps. But that doesn't make their job any less important. The final group among the Black Furies camps is the Temple of Artemis. This is the smallest camp, and no one starts in this camp. They're sort of the opposite of the Amazons of Diana. You start in another camp and you end up in the Temple of Artemis. These tend to be mothers and crones who look after the traditional views of the Black Furies, the traditional spiritual practices. I would even go so far as to say that they and the Moon Daughters camps are traditionally at odds, because the Temple of Artemis is all about the tradition, upholding traditions, while the Moon Daughters are about creation, learning new things, bringing new things in, expanding everything. And that is, how their camps are divided. As you can see, every one of these camps serves a purpose. Now, I want to go back to talking about the litany. While most elements of the Garou litany are pretty much the same view as in most other tribes, they have a different view, except for the children of Gaia, on the Garou shall not mate with Garou tenet. The big thing is, for the Black Furies, mate means have children. And for them, it is totally acceptable if Garou have ways that they aren't having children, for them to get together. Which leads to one of the stereotypes of the Black Furies. The Black Furies do not see anything wrong with same-sex coupling. And so it's a fairly common thing among them, or at least it is not looked down upon like it would be in other tribes. But it is still considered something that they still should at some point have children, because they still have that duty to Gaia. But, yeah. That is the Black Furies. I feel like they were a very difficult tribe to talk about, just because here I am, a guy trying to talk about a tribe that is deeply entrenched in women's spirituality. And it is a very difficult tribe to talk about. So, I hope I did my best. But, either way, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe down below. Click the bell icon if you want to hear notifications of this channel. And this has been my video series on the tribes of the Garou Nation. I will take a week off from bonus content, and then I will start working on another project. Not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. I will have my regularly scheduled video up on Thursday or Friday this week. So, until then, I'd like you all to remember to have fun and keep gaming.